I don't know if your opponent has what's a terrible example? Like Ensnaring Bridge, for example?
Every card in Magic, right? It looks terrible. Callum confirmed it's terrible. And to anybody tuning in, we're talking about Ancient Cellar Spawn. And with that, hello and welcome to Everyday Eternal number 183. The new legacy staple of your bi-weekly legacy podcast. No, something like that. I just spent like 5 minutes trying to figure out what the card does because, well, auto-translations are still amazing. And also like not being able to look in the right place. But guys, we are back in the new year. Everybody, hello and welcome to the Happy New Year. Callum already wanted to call it a day as we were just talking. He'll talk all about how he already matched his previous year's success on Magic Online, I want to say.
Oh, I just want the year to be over with. I don't like the number 25, so that was the reason.
Is it because it's like an odd number?
Yeah, it's too perfect. It's too rounded. It's about... I have a problem with it. That's it.
The thing is, like, 20% of me actually believes you. Kinda.
I don't know when. Yeah, I don't like it. I'll just say that much. I don't have a good reason. I don't have a bad reason. I don't have any reason. I just don't like it.
Okay. So hope everybody, all of you had like a good start into the new year. Whether you played Ancient, what's it called, Cellar Spawn? No, anyway, we don't talk about the card all that much. But what we will talk about today is Kai has actually returned, right? Kai, you went once again to the mythical place called Japan. And also buddy. You guys have an announcement about a tournament that you guys will be casting. Unfortunately, I can't make it. I'm going to try to sell once again Kenya, your favorite Kenya merchant. I'm going to be in Düsseldorf. And yeah, if you're around, actually, I keep saying that whenever I go to trade fairs. Like 1.5 years ago, somebody actually hit me up at one of the trade fairs and he was like, oh, so you're Julian, like in German. And I was like, yeah, I'm Julian. Like, what is this going to be about? He's like, oh, I listened to your podcast. This is like two worlds colliding. Like there's like my magic world and there's my professional world. And I talk about it like here and there, especially on the podcast. But then when somebody actually was at the trade fair and seeked me out and like he was like, hey, I listened to your podcast and now I'm here at your booth at the trade fair. So I was like, yeah.
Dude, I bet like 70% that person also had their deck with them in the pocket somewhere.
You think so?
Yeah, probably.
So if you want to support the running of the show directly, or if you want to say hello at the trade fair, you can support us at patreon.com/everydayeternal. Unfortunately, we were giving out free tickets to the trade fair, and everybody was like, yeah, like, are people really going to be interested in that? And then we send out the message and like, I don't know, like immediately 200 people replied and they were like, yes, I want the free message. I want the free entry to a trade fair. And I'm like, oh,
but you have to pay to go in?
Actually draw people.
You have to pay to go into a trade fair?
Yeah, of course.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just like whether it's like a B2B or B2C, you do like B2C, not so much. But like for B2B, you have to sign up, and even as a visitor, you have to buy a pass.
Oh, business, yeah, I understand business, but like customers don't have to, right?
It depends on most I've been to. You do, yeah. Actually, pretty much everyone I've been to, you have to.
God,
and
you're paying to go and get people try and sell stuff to you. It sounds like a nightmare.
No, the thing is, like, they get really good deals. Like every time, like I can only speak for our company, but I think it's the same for most others. If you show up at the trade fair and you already know that you want to go on a trip, like you can get really good discounts. Sure. And a lot of companies also make it so that if you end up booking a holiday at the trade fair, or even like in the week, like 1 or 2 weeks after, because a lot of times like you have to talk about details, you actually get reimbursed on your trade fair ticket.
Okay.
There you go. Like you actually make money if you get
Fair enough. I stand corrected.
Dude, it's the same as fucking Eternal Weekend, Like you go there and like you get a playmat 3 months after.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah. 3 months if we're lucky.
If you're lucky, yeah. I believe, like, I genuinely believe that 80% of all the legacy players listening to this, like, they've already forgotten about that Psychic Frog playmat. Disclaimer, this just happened in Europe, not in the US. Like, it's because the US gets their shit together. Unlike
with regards to some things, not so much to others.
But yeah, If you don't want to like read more about this whole topic, then Tom the Decker wrote like this excellent like article about like all the things that went like well and pretty shitty at the Prague Eternal.
Yeah, should we, I guess we can link it in the show notes, right?
We can, yeah.
I took a quick glance at it, and I think we also talked a little bit about it on the Discord and everything. Maybe it was because I was so delirious. I didn't mind being there and just like playing, and that was pretty much it. But I guess I didn't have a lot of ambitions and like expectations. I know I did have more of those in the past, and I know that a lot of things were missing from the event, but I understand why some people were unhappy, especially about like some of the short-term changes. But overall, I guess I'm not the best person to compare to on that weekend. I mean, if you don't know, you probably have to listen to the last episode. Or
one of the worst things is the prizes were low and changed through the event. Like some things are just unforgivable for me.
You can't do that. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's like hopping on an airplane. Like in the middle of the flight, they go like, "Hey, actually, we're gonna change their destinations. We're just gonna go somewhere completely different, But I hope you don't mind." And you don't have a choice because you're already in the fucking airplane, And it's the same with the event too. Like you're already there, and then midday. I don't want to rant about this topic too much. In fact, like I was probably among the few lucky ones that actually cashed out at the event. But but for the majority of the players, right? Like they just didn't really get anything for the prize sticks and all of that. So
yeah, the prize stick. I've never really been happy about like any event where they did like prize sticks. I don't know.
I hate it with an absolute passion.
But at the same time, I don't even know what I really want. I guess cash or like card market coupons or something, because anything else, like if you give me like the worst thing you can give me is like sealed product. I'm like,
sure,
okay.
Yeah.
Like,
and that was the best deal at the prize wall. Like you would get sealed product because there's nothing else.
Yeah.
So like there was basic lands in the prize wall. Like how sad is that? You can get some revised basic lands with your prizes.
Like whiteboarded?
Yeah.
Yeah,
they were scattered all over.
The special whiteboarded ones from Revised. Yeah,
it's just embarrassing. It was so bad. But I think Kai's right. Like Tom DeDecker did such a good job with the article that we're just gonna rant, and he sums it up better.
Okay,
right, exactly. Yeah, we shouldn't stress this thing on the podcast too much, but
okay. If you want to read more about it, we're gonna link it in the show notes for sure.
Yeah, I pretty much co-sign what he wrote.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But the good news that we were about to
unleash onto the world.
Unleash is this weekend, my dudes. Is the fire starts in France this year. MTG once does their anniversary tournament, and your boy's gonna be there.
Yeah,
talking about Magic. Talking about Eldrazi and all
last
of that.
year looked so sick because you were there with your booth, right? And the pictures just look like an amazing place, amazing time.
Oh, dude, yeah, like that location is just. I think it might actually be the best, like the newest, cleanest, and the nicest tournament location in all of Europe. I think.
Whoa,
that's
okay.
Amazing. See, for me, like. I think me and Legacy players who are like, middle, later age, you just want that. It's just like more than prizes and stuff these days. It's just like a nice venue.
Yeah, it's like the total opposite of the Four Seasons Bologna location, because like that place smells like pasta the whole time, and I
do like that place as well. To be fair, but
it is really messy, right? And that's kind of like sort of like the appeal, I think, to it, because it's like so all over the place. And the place in France is like, dude, it's like the cleanest, like it's just so spacious. You have so much extra space. It's almost uncomfortable how much extra space you have.
Cool.
I guess the same can be said about Impact Returns. Also, you had a lot of space there.
Yeah, Impact is great.
Yeah, I also want to like before we move on, I also want to say like I've played in really shitty places. That's why I really appreciate locations like for example, Four Seasons Bologna. It's like so many rooms and so big, and they also have like this decent like kiosk or whatever you want to call it to get some food on site.
Dude, you gotta tell me like what's like the number one shittiest place you've ever played at Magic tournament?
Okay, so I wanna say that one place in Berlin where we played.
Oh, dude!
After the trade fair, the hot box.
That's not fair, dude. I was about to say that.
And the worst part was when I lost the first round to you, and then I had to play in the back. Which,
yeah, dude, that's shitty. Yeah. That's not even a proper room. That's like
that's
like
kind room is stretching it.
That's like like a storage.
Yeah, that was basically like a storage facility or something. And then I had to play against baby JPA, who was like still gathering his powers and everything, and he was like playing this horrible, I don't know, chunk like Crucible of Worlds Wasteland control deck, and I was like, this is the funniest thing ever. But yeah, that place was really bad, like really, really bad. And honestly, like we've played there a lot, but the Ovino Get-On thing, like the Casa de Gnocchi or something, like come on. It's okay, but only because we didn't know better.
That's the one in Milano?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it has like several rooms, but like the chairs are really uncomfortable, and acoustic is also terrible. And most of the time you're kind of there just looking for your friends. You can't find them because there are so many rooms, and
that's the best part, right? Because like sometimes when you don't do well at one of those tournaments, like you drop down from the main room, then you go into the side room, and if you like keep playing and you lose there, then you go into another room, and if you lose again, you're like, I didn't even know another room existed. Like they open the dungeon and like you go
somewhere.
No, you know, I think they opened the garden, right?
They did open the garden.
Yeah,
at times even,
dude, and then you gotta sit outside, and that's like the shittiest place ever, dude.
I want to say that was like in 2015 when they had over. You remember what the place looks like, right? They had over 500 people show up to Ovino Get-On. Like 500. It's like a small GP in that location. That's where they literally had to open the garden, and people started playing in the garden. We were just so happy it didn't rain.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Anyway. So you were about to say you're gonna go to Lyon, the culinary capital of France, as they say. And is it gonna be one of those tournaments that's actually in Lyon, or is it gonna be like, I don't know, 50 kilometers away from the city?
Of course not.
They just take the name, right? That's how it always works.
They took the name because actually I kind of like when they named the biggest city because then you know how you're gonna take flights and trains and all that sort of stuff, right? Because
otherwise it would be impossible to find out.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to find a flight to 10 kilometers outside of Lyon because there's just nothing.
It depends on which kind of money you get.
If you give me like a helicopter or something.
Yeah, see, now we're talking.
Smuggler's copter.
Smuggler's copter.
Is it too late to quit this podcast?
But yeah, anyway, so Callum and I, we're gonna be full on live the whole time, bringing you. I don't even know how many rounds, probably like 8 or 9 rounds of Swiss or something like that, plus a top 8. That's all going to happen on the MTG1's Twitch channel on this Saturday. So don't miss it.
So that is twitch.tv/MTG1s, so like ONES, MTG1s.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And on Sunday, we are fortunate to skip all that and just become regular Magic players.
Yeah, we were like, we can commentate on Sunday as well. Like, no, 1 day's enough of you guys.
Yeah, which we understand.
No, we just decided they're gonna have the second day with French casters. So because they obviously have a lot of French fans and people want to watch it and stuff. And
here's an idea.
French, so.
Like, I would tune in on Sunday if you guys tried commentating in French.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Callum.
Oh man, dude, like
Callum.
Did I guys tell you that I took like two years of French lesson, and that's just this only one word I remember, which is so fucking useless that I just kept in my hand. It's a risque d'avalanche.
What's that?
Avalanche risk.
Dude. That's like.
So you went skiing,
you gotta know, right?
Yeah, like beware avalanches.
Beware of avalanches. There's like wild avalanches running around.
Dude, and then it's like, dude, this is on my life goal sheet that I want to use this phrase in a proper sentence at a proper moment.
I'm going skiing in France like in 6 weeks or so, so maybe I can use it.
Dude, you gotta help me out on this,
You're just like, you're in the valley at the ski lift, and then you turn to the person next to you, and you're like, risque d'avalanche.
But I'll totally forget it, so I need to message Kai saying, dude, what was it again? While the avalanche is coming back.
I dare you guys to actually work that into the podcast somehow.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Oh, dude!
I'm gonna celebrate you.
Also, we gotta buy all the baguette de cassations, dude. All the ones. Yeah.
You know, I was so disappointed when I found out that Nilrod is not baguette de rien, because everybody always said, "Oh, it's baguette de rien in French," but yeah.
Oh shit! Okay.
It's something else.
Baguette avalanche. Yeah.
Yeah. So how many people do? First of all, how many people do you guys expect to show up for MTG1?
So the last 2 events, the one was in summer last year and the one in January 2024, There were about 100 and I want to say between 150 and 200 players on both Saturday and Sunday. You kind of have the same crowd on both days. And it's like a complete reset, right? Like, doesn't really matter how you did on Saturday. Sunday's going to be like a fresh new event. But it's like 99.9% of the same people who attend both days.
So it's your classic Swiss plus top 8 structure.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much. Oh, but I don't know if they do top 8 on the Sunday one.
They do not, I believe.
Yeah. We got to check on this too because
I'm
because of like
sure.
the venue and stuff like that, and some people want to like leave.
Yeah, it's quite clear on the sign up page. Like they say, no top 8 for the Sunday.
There you go.
So you guys gonna be commentating what is basically the premier event of the weekend, right?
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
Totally.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, cool. So I'm gonna try. Actually, no, I certainly won't be able to tune in. From one was like maybe
you'll be selling
no.
stuff.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting. There's gonna be a lot of people whom I sent to Kenya last year when they were at the trade fair, and then the next year they show up again, and they stand in front of you and they look at you and they're like, huh? And you're like, oh, I should know this person, but I know like 50 of them right now. So I also just go, huh? And then the conversation flows from there, and then yeah.
Just a little bit more information about it though. If anyone's like on the fence about coming, it's like €50 per event to enter. So for each of Saturday and Sunday, but the pricing is very good. So if anyone doesn't know the MTG ones, guys, they're just hyper passionate about Legacy. They're not in it for the money. They're not like tiers in the sense of trying to make a business out of it. They just love Legacy. I've known them for a long time. So 80% of the entry is going back into prizes, if I understand it right.
Okay, that's an insanely high percentage.
And then if 150 players sign up for the Saturday event, which bodes well based on what Kai just said, they're putting a FBB Underground C in for the winner in addition to the
Holy
prize
smokes, dude. This is insane.
It's very, very good. And like €50 for a whole day thing in a nice venue is pretty cheap comparatively these days. So it just looks to be amazing in every regard.
Dude. You guys already got your decks ready and locked in? Is it going to be like the usual?
I completely didn't until like yesterday. I had no idea.
We'll talk about that in a moment.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you asked me earlier to for about the Wanderings. Like
yeah.
Dude, what have you become?
Well, it got banned in Modern and they became very cheap, so I bought them on Magic Online. Is the reason.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. People always ask me, can you short Magic cards? So you told me well, I guess you couldn't really short the ring because it was already like known to drop down in value.
But you'll get in trouble with the renting service, the renting services.
Yeah. I just like I was talking to somebody who a couple of years ago who had like a startup in Magic and like also like a lot of seed money and everything. And he didn't really know like what the online economy for Magic Online was like. He's like, is there any way to short cards? And like I thought about it and I was like, yeah, actually there is. But I don't think that the rental services want that. And then he tried to convince me, no, they actually want that. I'm like, yeah, dude, is this like the kind of mindset you have to like start a business where like you have to convince yourself that the people want to be abused? Like, nah, come on, that can't be it. Anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, you are probably gonna be on Painter, I assume. And Kai, are you gonna be running your favorite 3 black sorcery again?
Oh, dude, yes, absolutely.
Necrodominance.
Also, yeah, I have what? I've not changed a single card since Eternal Weekend, which means that I'm still playing a Psychic Frog, Vexing Bauble meta game, Doomsday list,
Defense Grid still.
Defense grids, baby.
Well, actually, it's the only option, isn't it now? Yeah.
Yeah. I generally believe that as long as Consigned Memory is a real card in Legacy sideboards, you gotta play. You gotta have something that beats Counter Magic plus Consigned to Memory, right? Because Cavern of Souls is probably at its absolute lowest at the moment, and I'm like so close just dropping it from the main deck at least. Yeah. Because even the blue-red, like the Grixis Delver decks or like the blue-red tempo decks, they play Pyroblast, and Cavern of Souls is pretty good against that, but Cavern doesn't save you from Consigned to Memory. So like it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to get your Thassa down if this trigger gets stifled.
And Consign is like on average a 3 of in every blue deck sideboard.
It is such a
it's everywhere.
It's just everywhere.
Yeah. I had a similar revelation yesterday. I was playing against a Delver deck that kind of just went draw go for a bunch of turns. So I played a Disruptor Flute naming Consigned to Memory, and then everything resolved. So probably similar with Defense Grid, right? You're like, oh, screw you.
Yeah. I mean, they could have countered the flute, I guess, but...
True, I must have cast something tapped out. Or they didn't expect me to name that.
Exactly, because I have to do exactly the same with Defense Grid. Like, Defense Grid is just so easy to consign. But if you, like what I usually do is,
sorry.
There we go. I dress them, for example, then I see like a hand of like, let's say like Force of Will, Consigned to Memory, maybe like a Daze or a Cantrip or something like that. And then I usually take the Consigned to Memory and then drop Defense Grid. And they have to force Defense Grid or they have to do something really silly.
Or at least you can, make way for it first or get it down quickly under a consign or like, as you said, dress them first and then get it out. Because you still need to resolve the Doomsday and set up and it might take a few turns to get everything rolling and stuff.
Right.
And then it might have cantripped into another one by then.
Yeah. No, absolutely, yeah. And like another card that's just so important right now is a non-Thassa's win condition and like Jace Field of Mysteries. It got a little.
I noticed that in your list for Prague, and I was like, "This is."
Dude, it is already in the main deck. In my list, it's in the main deck, and it's a terrible magic card, right? It costs 4 mana. It doesn't really do a whole lot, but it beats so much stuff like already. Like it beats all the dress downs. It beats Consigned to Memory entirely. It also beats. I don't even know, like, what's it called? Like Hushbringer effects, Torpor Orb, of course. All of that, right?
Does it do anything, like, when you cast it? I don't remember, like, what it must have some, like, plus abilities that, like, I guess, generate card advantage.
Exactly. It's, +1 is a Thought Scour.
Target anyone.
Target player. You usually target yourself. And then you draw into your last card, which is, like, a Cycler. Or you just don't and just pass the turn and I don't know, wait for them to make an action, then you can still respond with cycling.
And does it have that thing where you win the game if you're drawing from an empty library as part of the ability?
Exactly.
It's part of the static of Jace, so you can draw with the brainstorm whatever, and then you win.
Okay, so. Because the problem is when it's only part of the static, then if they remove the Jace in response to you drawing the last card.
That'd be very terrible. Yes.
Yeah. Because they put that on one of the chases that wins you the game when the library is empty for that scenario. But,
it goes both ways because if they can remove the Jace, it's a problem. But at the same time, if it was part of the ability, they could like consign the ability, then you would maybe die in your next upkeep or something. So
yeah. No, I think I remember like there was a card that had like the static and the part of the activated ability, but maybe I'm wrong. Because people were like wondering why does it have this as part of the activated ability as well, and basically to cover both scenarios. But that must have been a different chase or a different.
Oh
card
no,
then.
I think it is the same Jace, but it's a -7 ability. I think.
Yes.
So it has
Oh yeah, it's a -8. You draw 7 cards. Then if your library has no cards, then you win the game. Also, you can like -8 and it dies because you want to do it right away, and then you still win the game because you have the activated ability effect. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Dude, I want to ultimate this Jace so bad.
Have you had any games where like you just play it off a Lotus Petal too early against control?
Dude,
I'm sure it's quite good, right?
Dude, I did in the mirror. Dude, it was dude, I gotta talk about this game just really quick because it was like one of the most insane things.
You have
that
so many
happened.
insane games lately. Hit us.
Yeah. So
Doomsday is just like a fun machine,
right? So imagine. So this was like I think it was like on some stream or like in a league or something. But I got paired against the actual 75 card mirror, I think, on Magic Online. Both players on Turbo Doomsday for personal tutors, Knights Whispers in there, Cabal Witches, and all this stuff, right? And we split the first 2 games, and then the third game, my opponent discards my Doomsday and surgicals all of them, so I have no Doomsday left. But I managed to find Jace and actually drop Jace. It resolves. Both players have like about 5-6 cards the whole time, but it's like mono counter magic, and like Jace literally just wins the game. And I won with our Street Rave beatdowns, and because I was like Dimir control.
Nice.
Those are the games that are totally worth it,
dude. Yeah, but also you get to do like all the sweet things. You can like brainstorm, put 2 back cards back, Jace plus target yourself. Like all that good stuff.
This is, again, always my favorite kind of Magic, where everyone's interaction pieces kind of stop the main focus, and then you have to win with scraps and stuff. It's like my favorite games with Hogak decks years ago was like, you're against a Leyline of the Void, but you both have a Leyline, maybe it's a mirror, and you both have like these just 2/1s that can't block and 1/1s, and it's just really shitty, awful Magic. I love it.
It reminds me of my favorite game that I played. One of my favorite games that I played with Elves back in 2014 against Thomas Vlacek. In one day after the GP, we went to Brooklyn to play a local Legacy tournament, and I played Elves against this Miracles. And I think there was a reason he didn't even treat the Angels. Maybe I surgicaled it or something. I don't remember, discard and surgical. Anyway, so I just did like 1/1s and Pendelhaven. And if you think about it, every creature in that deck is like a 2/1 Snapcaster Mage or like a 2/2, either one Canonist.
I've lost to that as playing Miracles.
Oh,
it's so hilarious. Like, he just like after the game, like he just points to the Pendelhaven, is like, Julian, this card, my deck cannot beat this card. It's so stupid.
Legit,
fucking Pendelhaven.
It is.
Oh gosh.
I've got a similarly fun story, which is quite recent. It was a year or so ago against Tom DeDecker in Vintage when we were doing the team event, and we were both playing Countervine, and it was like after a few turns we both had 0 lands in play, 0 or 1 cards in hand, and we both had a single Root Waller in play each.
Oh, I think I was sitting next to you. Yeah, we played the event together. Yeah,
and
I
we just
that.
stood back and smiled and admired our board state and was like, this is just the best / worst thing.
The most powerful format in the game.
I know, it was so fun. Loved it.
It's like when the dust settles, there's just like 2 Root Wallers staring at each other. Can't even be activated.
like if imagine you showed that to a new player and you're like, this is the most powerful thing. This deck can destroy anything you put in front of it. And they're like, you've got like a 1/1 in play. It's just...
It's like, hey, my pre-constructed deck can beat that. My friend has like the 6/6 Crawworm. Come on.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of like Forces and Bazaars and Hollow Ones in each of our graveyards, but at the same time, it was cool.
Yeah, Hollow One has nothing on Crawworm. Actually, isn't Crawworm 6/4?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, would actually,
big one,
okay. What's the other one, Dreadnought, that people always meme about? Dreadmaw something.
Oh, Colossal
Dreadmaw. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that one fucks up a Hollow One.
Pretty badly. Okay, cool. Guys, Kai, actually, what I want to hear about is you went to Japan, right?
I did, baby.
I'm
still a little jet lagged. Like I came back like 3 or 4 days ago, I think. But oh man, like I usually, so it's like a 13 hour flight to Japan from Germany.
Wait. Do you have like to change planes or something?
Oh no, like
that doesn't sound right at all.
So from Munich,
because of the war in Russia and Ukraine, right?
Yeah, dude, you can't cross Russia right now, so you have to take like an alternative route.
Whoa, this is like a massive detour then.
It kind of sucks. But it also at the same time doesn't really matter because like you're supposed to be sleeping the whole time, right? Mm-hmm. Which worked on the way to Japan, but not on the way back.
Japan.
And oh man, dude, like I was like awake for like 13 hours or so, like watching the same movie twice.
You were like on a super shitty airline, and they have like 2 movies. It's just like one of them is a kids movie, and one of them is like from 20 years ago in like Russian with like Albanian subtitles, and you're like, okay, let's go.
You know, like the earphones they give you on the airplane, like they're so shitty and like so low quality that you can't. There are certain movies you can't watch, like.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Like anything with music, for example, you just cannot watch that.
Yeah, the problem with like the earphones on airplanes is a lot of them, they have like a proprietary connector, so you can't put your own ones in there. So I was kind of lucky that when I bought my headphones, I think the Sennheisers or something, they actually put in like a custom adapter that you can convert the shitty proprietary earphone thingy on a lot of airplanes into like a regular, one that you use for your headphones.
Oh, big life hack. Yeah, I watched The Big Lebowski like twice in some other shit later on.
That's
basically your favorite movie. That's your favorite movie, right?
Dude, it's among my favorite movies, yeah. and this is like the reason why Testacular and I go so well together, I think, because like it's also his favorite movie, and I don't know. Like
I remember, like we wanted to get drunk and watch this movie together. We really gotta do that this year sometime.
It's still on the list. but because of that, I've been like jet lagged for the past couple of days, and like I woke up at 4 a.m. this morning casually, and
you need to listen to some Eagles to get over it.
Dude, I hate the fucking Eagles.
Let's have a White Russian first.
Yeah.
Something like yeah.
But anyway, in Japan, like I usually do my routine, sort of like I just meet up with my old friends, mostly Magic friends. We go out drinking, we play a bunch of Commander, a bunch of Legacy, Vintage, and stuff like that. But there was this one particular event I want to talk about because it was so unique, and I've never seen something like this in Europe so far. And maybe after hearing this, like if you're a tournament organizer, you might want to consider this, because this was, I want to say, like probably like more fun than most other events I've attended like the past 2 years or so.
This is some big praise. Hit us.
So this is called, okay, so the title kind of sucks, but it says Eternal Championship.
Oh, Eternal Championship?
Yeah, dude.
Nice.
Which is,
you speak Japanese, Julian?
Yeah, of course.
Dude.
I used my credit card to buy lessons.
Oh, you used a credit card?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, cool. So the name is a little like misleading, I think, because it's not an Eternal Championship. I would just call it's a Team Legacy event, and it's called Team Legacy event because you have a team of 3 players, but you all 3 play Legacy, and there are a couple of rules in this tournament, but the main one is that you cannot share cards, right? So obviously, if the first player picks up 4 brainstorms, then none of the other 2 players can play brainstorms, right? But it's also it doesn't even have to be a 4-off. So if the first player plays a single fairy macabre in the sideboard, then none of the other 2 players can play any fairy macabres.
Right, so there's no splitting, basically.
There's no splitting.
This has been a thing at GPs in the past. It's called Unified.
Yeah, Unified. I always thought like Unified was like you have 4 copies spread out amongst other players, but
I don't believe so.
I mean, thought so too, but because you gotta.
I could be wrong, but yeah, I didn't think so.
Because I mean, if it's limited, then you can use whatever you open, right?
Yeah, it wouldn't be like, it'd be constructed Team Unified.
It'd be kind of shitty if you like, I don't know, crack open like the most busted common like 20 times, then you're not allowed to use it.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I can't really remember. It's either one way, but I like this way of doing it more by like you only have one Force of Will deck or one.
Right. So so what's really cool about this, in comparison to I just call it like regular team events like Modern, Legacy, Vintage, or Pioneer, Modern, Legacy, or what have you, is that you have 3 people who are equally as passionate about this one specific format. And there's a lot of discussion and a lot of prep in front of this tournament, right? So if you pair up with like a Modern, a Vintage, and a Legacy player, then usually, from my experience, what ends up happening is that everyone kind of focuses on their own deck, and the Modern player is not gonna interfere with the Vintage player and go like, hey, you should probably, I don't know, cast this Tinker or something, like they don't even know how Vintage works, and vice versa. But if you have like 3 Legacy people, then they know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, you talk to each other more. I love the dynamic of, that you're only going to be facing one Force of Will deck or one Wasteland deck, so you can try and manipulate that as well.
Yeah, dude.
In your deck building and deck choices and stuff. Really cool.
Yeah, I think generally speaking, there are just a couple of archetypes that are so much better in team events than others.
For example, springs to mind.
Sure, yeah. I think anything proactive is very good in team events, right? Because as you said, like there are only 4 Force of Wills. I was one of the non-blue players. I'm gonna talk about my team in a minute, but I was not on a blue deck, so I had to play like 4 Mindbreak traps, for example, in the sideboard.
Yeah.
And
I think that's a cool dynamic of it.
And like, because you really gotta think of, okay, so what if, and like any of us could get paired against, like, let's say like an Oops All Spells player, right? It's not that unlikely. So like you need the tools to fight specific archetypes, especially the glass cannon ones.
Yeah, I guess like one gets Mind Break Trap, one gets Ley Line, and one gets Force of Will is like a very quick rough dynamic you'd think about.
Right. Yeah. Force of Vigor is also not bad sometimes, but
yeah, really, really cool.
But yeah, man, look, I just cannot stress how fun the prep time was, because like we made our team member, like two old friends, actually, who all played Ad Nauseam Tendrils when I was also really high on the deck. Like it was like 2015, nice. And it was the brilliant. Gang. Yeah, dude. Except that none of us played Ad Nauseam Tendrils, because that is Ad Nauseam Tendrils is a terrible deck for teams, right? Because you take both the blue cantrips, so none of your team members can play Force of Will.
Oh yeah,
unless they're on a fucking Merfolk deck, maybe.
Yeah, Ant is also probably a bit slower than lots of the other combo decks as well.
Dude, but you also take LED and Dark Ritual. Like, what the fuck?
Yes, that's
dude,
terrible.
Like, if you play Ad Nauseam Tendrils, so your teammates better be like Death and Taxes and fucking Enchantress. I don't know.
Eldrazi.
Sure.
But still, no, that's a really good point. It's like, you can't cannibalize all the best cards.
Yeah, you cannot. Like, another really bad deck for team events is Sneak and Show, because you use all the blue cards, but also Ancient Tomb.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Get that out of there.
But it's like stuff like this, like in regular Legacy discussions, you don't talk about this kind of stuff. But
so a
like,
Japanese event that Sneak and Show is bad. It's a weird paradox. But yeah.
I mean, to be fair, there was some, but
okay.
the teams were like rather on the lower tables. Yeah,
got it. Just a very quick like tangent on this team thing. Something that I would love to see in a team event in the future. I think it would have to be like 5-player teams or more.
What
is? I
mean,
you've
not done that, right?
It would be cool, right? And then you have to win 3 matches to it. But what I want to be cool is when you all sit down, you say which archetype everyone's on, and then you pair them off. So you get good pairings and bad pairings, and then you try and win those and stuff. I think that'd be quite cool.
And you like how would you know? Like the first one gets to pick somebody from the other team.
This is what you do in Warhammer, and so in Warhammer you have similarly good and bad matchups and stuff. So what you'd do is both teams would in secret put forward one deck. So say Kai puts forward Doomsday, and I put forward Painter, and then they both get revealed at the same time. And then each team's going to choose 2 of their decks to put up against whatever the deck the other person put forward. So let's say against Doomsday, I put up Eldrazi and Ant. Just doesn't matter if they're good or bad match. I'm just saying out loud. And then Kai will now get to choose one of those 2 decks that he wants to play against.
Oh, okay. So like the first level thought is you put the 2 best decks up against it, and then the other person picks the second best against it.
So you want to put 2 good matchups into the deck that they put up. Mm-hmm. But similarly, there's extra like layers to this, because a good team at pairing would be able to manipulate so that like if there's one unwinnable matchup, you want to protect that so you don't get that. And also at the end, things kind of fall into place, and there's less decisions in the last one or 2 decks in pairings, so you might try and avoid something there. It's just a really deep thing. It's hard to even explain.
It could also be like in your interest to get completely destroyed in one matchup, because
if they have a deck that's like really good against 4 of yours, you're gonna like try and get a deck that has a high roll potential into it as well, something like that.
You know that reminds me of. There's this like very basic game, and I think it has a name, where you have the numbers from 1 to 9 face down in front of you, and every single round you have to reveal one of the numbers, and if you pick the higher number, you win a point, right? And you do that 9 times, and I guess it's mostly luck, but there's also some strategy behind it, kind of. Especially later on when you know like which numbers they still have left and everything.
Yeah.
So you also like if you lose to the 9, you'd rather lose by picking a 1 to the 9, something like that.
Okay, because some are better and worse. Yeah, it's a similar idea then. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, Kai, that was just like a quick tangent. I think there's more that could happen in team events, but it's really cool seeing this as different.
Right. But I was just so surprised, because this was the first time for me to join an event like this, and like how much, like how dynamic the games are, and like the preparations if you all talk about the same format. Mm-hmm. It was really cool, because you also saw a couple of like oldies, like decks you don't really see very often these days, but like they popped up here and there, and like this event gave people reason to dust off their, I don't know, fucking Pokepile or something. So I don't even.
That was the first deck that came to mind.
I don't know, like so.
A deck that exists for like 2
dude,
months.
I was like thinking what deck did exist in 2021 or so, 20
Something like that.
Okay, Ren and 6 control. I don't know.
Ren and 6 control.
Oh, that's probably after 21.
Ragavan aggro.
Yeah, but that was like, it was Ren and 6 was already banned at that point, right?
Okay, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, wasn't Ren and 6 banned like right before GP Bologna 2019?
Pokeball
Yes,
is terrible.
yeah,
Dude,
right.
Pokeball has like 12 banned cards in it? I don't know. Like Arcanist, Oku, Astrolabe, all of that stuff.
Oh yeah. Fun times.
Anyway. But yeah, so there was, if you look at the top 8 deck list, because we can also link them below. You see that there is definitely a trend. It's usually the best combination right now is like Eldrazi plus Nadu, like blue band Nadu as the blue deck, and then some glass cannon deck like Oops All Spells, Mono Black Reanimator.
Yeah, Tin Fins pretty much.
Even Dredge was actually commonly played at the event. So
I can see that.
That was a really really good combination. Our team was kind of the opposite. we had like fucking Jeskai control in blue.
What? Oh dear.
Why did you let that happen?
Kai,
How did you waste a brainstorm on that?
No,
Kai, you're off the podcast.
I
Get out of
know, right? I know that, dude. I talked to him to like, what a fucking waste of the blue cards. You know, if you want to like put him in a Jeskai control deck. Wasn't the smartest thing, but hey.
Something I would have done at this event is make sure all 3 decks have absolutely killer sideboards for graveyard decks. You can have one with ley lines, one with surgicals and fairies, and one with like, or a deck that's very good against it. Because I think it's a very level 1 to just put a Reanimator or Dredge or Oops in every single lineup. And if you have all 3 of your decks really good against that, you're guaranteeing 1 win. I think that's one approach I'd do.
You can go even that far and like main deck some of that stuff too.
Yeah,
if you really want to. It's not crazy, I think.
If you're thinking that every team's going to bring a graveyard combo deck, like just make sure all 3 of your decks can absolutely kill that, and then you've just got a leg up on the competition.
Oh, like Mono Black Helm was also an excellent choice for this event.
Yes,
I didn't see many of them on the top tables, but like what a genius move, right? Like you already give up, or like you don't even touch on the quote unquote good cards in Legacy, and you have Leyline's main deck.
Takes Ritual and Ancient Tomb, but I guess that is your Ritual Ancient Tomb deck.
Oh, right.
It's good to combine very powerful cards like that together.
Yeah,
it's good.
Okay, but back to our team. So so our team was like Jeskai control for the blue player, and then we had my buddy on Oops All Spells, and like it was
of course.
Faulted Forms exact 75, I think,
Nice.
and I was on fucking Cradle Control, dude.
Yeah.
And Cradle Control. So I was a little nervous because like Cradle Control doesn't seem to have a good matchups against Nadu, but boy, dude, I got paired against Eldrazi 4 times out of 6 rounds.
Holy shit.
And dude, Cradle Control fucking slays Eldrazi. I didn't even know that, but like Natural Order just resolves every single time, right? And I played the full playset of Natural Orders for the event because I want to be more proactive, and again, maybe I don't get paired against a Force of Will deck.
Makes sense.
So yeah, man. So basically, the game's patterns were kind of similar after like the third opponent's like, okay, I kind of get used to this, like both ramp a little bit, but then like what they do is like Thought Knot Seer, and what you do is like
Draw Natural Order off the top.
Natural Order, Grist, all of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's just so much better.
I've also never seen a top deck Natural Order like these decks, like
scientifically backed up.
Elves and Cradle decks just top deck Natural Order every time the game is like just goes into the mid game, like ding ding ding. Oh, you're on turn 4. Here you go. Anyway,
yeah. So, our team had a 4-2 run.
Nice.
And this might sound crazy, but the Jeskai control player had actually the best personal record, which I kind of hate to admit.
I was almost gonna say it, like when you mentioned it and we were making fun of it. I bet that was your best performing player in the end.
Yeah,
dude.
I can see how it is good in this kind of this landscape.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you got to slay Eldrazi, but still weren't the best performing player?
I was not, no, because I won
here
against
come the
3 of them.
excuses.
I won against 3 of them. I lost
You went like 3-2, and you're telling me
No,
you're
I
slaying
went
that deck?
3-1 versus Eldrazi, and then I also lost against Moonstompy, which I believe is a terrible matchup because they got Furies all over the place.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
the other loss was Dredge too.
Mhm,
Yeah, I was just not. Man, dude, dude, dude. So I had this very questionable keep, and I want to hear your opinion because this was such an.
Dude, this is so perfect. Sorry to interrupt you there. Like, this is every every tournament story is always like, so I played against Stretch and I had this very questionable keep, and I want to hear your opinion. This is like every tournament story has that kind of moment.
All right, but like this is a really interesting one.
Okay,
all right,
this is the opening hand where you have like no graveyard hate at all, but you're like, but if I get to turn 3, it's like, okay,
dude, it was the opposite. It had all the graveyard hate but no lands. All right, so I was on the play and I had 1 land in hand, which was a Bajuka block. And then I had Endurance plus Pitch, and then some other shit that didn't matter. I think even he had like a Mindbreak Trap in hand or something like that. And I kept, and I was on the play, and obviously
and
like I was
pass?
I'm not gonna play out the block, on turn 1. I mean, that's right. So I said like go, and then my opponent got even more confused.
This is like we had Magic Online, you immediately, like, you have 6 immediately. It's like, oh yeah, oops, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, try to do that in paper. It's so much harder to like accidentally pass a turn.
I would totally been like, oh, you're going first, right? So I forgot.
What?
I'm not trying to cheat.
Oh, we already established that.
Oh man, yeah.
As much as I want to make fun of you, I think it's quite defensible.
I mean, it wasn't bad, but I think I just underestimated how good dredge decks can slow play or like slow roll you.
The problem is like a single Cabal Therapy just destroys you, and it's
say,
so
like,
obvious
Therapy
what you
is
have.
Totally gonna go after Endurance, and
Yeah, dude.
I think it is a mulligan, but it's I can see how you'd keep it.
I could see keeping it on the draw. Maybe the opponent like goes all in or something, and then you get like 2 pieces of interaction right away.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, you're also like what kind of hand are you actually happy with? With this like mono green.
I don't know, Reclaimer at least.
Yeah, I think you're more happy with like a Forest and a Reclaimer.
And like no endurance.
Yeah.
And just hope that they don't like completely shred you with the LEDs.
A little bit more like the Mafouche Van Gogh ones are. Because I thought those were a little bit slower.
His latest one's called Turbo Dredge, so it's all over the place.
It's a slow Turbo Dredge.
He played Turbo Dredge with like Anger at Eternal Weekend. So
dude,
very slow.
Like such a vintage tech.
Yeah.
So, or at least it was like many years ago.
Yeah. On this keep though, one of my heuristics, which like I've learned from over the years, the no landers with like a bunch of sideboard cards, they so rarely work. Like, you just need to get lucky. They really rarely work. They just don't more than 50% of the time. So I think this deck, you have so much interaction with the graveyard. Again, like you're happy with just like a Reclaimer and 1 endurance a lot more. So I think you do have a lot better 5s and 6s.
Yeah, well, now I know.
Yeah, for next time you're in that exact position.
No, but like the next time it's gonna be exactly the same situation, right? Where I'm like, I think I'm gonna keep this,
and then O2 for the things.
Yeah.
But I like Julian's thought: on the draw, keep; on the play, mulligan.
Oh gosh, man. Yeah. I mean, these are like the really hard decisions sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. But again, it was a really fun event. I would press repeat button like anytime.
I would jump at the chance to play.
It'd be so fucking sick if we could have something like this too in Europe, because it's not too hard to pull off, and also finding teammates from the same format is also easier, and because like you already get along with most of them, right? So like what I found some awkward sometimes is that like if you're a modern player and you have to find a vintage seat.
Yeah, there's not a lot of overlap between those guys.
Exactly, and like none of your friends play vintage, so I don't know. So that was pretty cool. And then there were some other events and stuff I played in Japan, but
wasn't it basically like your honeymoon?
Dude. Oh man, dude, you know what?
That laugh.
Is it a honeymoon if it's like a 3-week vacation in Tokyo, but you only spend 3 days with your partner?
Well, it depends on which kind of arrangement you have with your partner. Don't judge. We don't judge.
That's like 1 day per week I spent with my partner in Japan, and all the rest was basically like I meet up with my friends, she meets up with her friends. I play Magic, go drinking. She does whatever she wants to do, and then
you don't even know what she did.
I mean, she always told me because we always took the last train in Japan. So the last train is usually around midnight, and it's because they don't want people to do it.
That's when you met up again.
We meet at the station. We go get another beer or some like some drink, and then we talk about what happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dude, I want that. That's actually like that. That's.
But it's kind of repetitive because I keep saying like, oh yeah, so today, I played some Magic, you know. I keep repeating myself.
And she's like, oh yes, tell me everything about. That's cool. That's cool. Did you get to forge your own rings or something? Wasn't that like an idea to do that?
We didn't even have time for this because
playing
Magic was more.
Right?
Yeah. God damn it.
Yeah. Oh god, seriously, I love you.
That's what you do. Apparently, my love for Magic is bigger than anything else. So.
Yeah, but I guess if you both agree on that, it's just like, fuck that ring forging thing.
Maybe next year.
Maybe next time. Okay, cool. So you guys didn't end up top 8ing, but you had a really great time there, right?
Yeah.
What is your team name, by the way?
So we were summoned to the feature match area in the 5th round, which was winning in for the top 8. Spoiler alert: we lost that pretty quickly, but we were on camera, and then also the coverage team asked us about our team name, and I asked my friends so do we have a team name, and they didn't have a team name, so I came up with a team name, which is Team German.
Team German.
What?
Yeah, even though there's just a single half German in the team.
I feel like a good team name is as important as your deck selection, and you really let it down here.
Yeah, so before the event, we weren't told that we need a team name.
You come that's not like an excuse. Like we would always call ourselves like Unicorn Warriors of Doom, even when just like there wasn't a proper team name.
Of course, I mean, because you're the Magma Lord 2000, so yeah.
3,000,
yeah, I think we found why you didn't top
3,000.
8, basically.
Yeah, lack of team name.
Okay.
Definitely.
Like, look at these guys. They all have like team names. Like, number 1 is Money Japan. Okay, whatever that is. Thanks to Taikazumi. Okay. What's this one? Saint. And the 4th team is called Lethal Damage. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like that.
You could have been, I don't know, Island Go, and everyone
Alpha
hates
Strike.
you.
Alpha Strike.
Oh god.
Oh god, dude.
I like that.
Man. I mean, this is probably a little off topic, but like, this is such an old story, man. The Alpha Strike story. It's from like the one time I played in that old school event, and I felt so misplaced because there were most opponents were like in their 60s and 50s, and I was like the only baby in the room, and
that like the caregiver with them and everything.
Yeah, dude. And I remember like my first round opponent, because that's like he's the guy who actually said the Alpha Strike thing, and like he didn't really know what he was doing, and like he had a couple of Savannah lines on the field. I had like a double Sarah Angels, and we both had like 18 life or so, and then he draws for turn, thinks for a second, and then he goes Alpha Strike and like attacks with like three Savannah lines and 1 Factory. I have 2 Angels, so I block 2 Savannah lines. They both die. I take 4 damage, drop to 14, and then the opponent looks at the board and looks at me and goes like, well, at least that's 4 damage. It's like, yeah, well, you're not going to do that next turn again.
Oh,
so
dear.
Dude, I would have totally expected him to have like 2 giant growth or something.
Dude, he was even, yeah, dude.
I was about to say a full-up Fury, but 2 giant growth sounds more realistic.
Dude, it was just so... No, he was a mono white too, so like, giant growth. But like, dude, such a bad gameplay, but like such a cool announcement. Because like the gap is just so big, like you go Alpha Strike and you followed up with like
I'm
the most like
doing
terrible attack ever.
Every time I make a really bad play, I'm just going to say Alpha Strike. And
Yeah, dude.
it covers it.
You're gonna make that thing, right?
It was just like, I made you block, I got you.
Yeah, gotcha. Dude, I still remember when I was trying to teach Magic to a friend of mine who was like otherwise like a really smart guy, but he also did that thing. I tried to construct like 2 really stupid basic basic decks. I think it was like green-white aggro against something similar or something. So I had the exact same situation. Big creature. He has a Savannah Alliance. He thinks about it for like, I don't know, 2 minutes. Then he attacks the Savannah Alliance into the big creature. And I constructed this deck. I know there's like nothing that punishes me.
That's cheating.
Yeah, but like also like, if he's got nothing that punishes me, there's also nothing in his hand that would even make him think that he could like bluff something. So I block, and he was like, "Oh man, I was hoping you wouldn't block." I was like, "Why would you think that?" It's like, just a feeling.
Well, that's where you were wrong, kiddo.
It's just like it's funny when somebody does that. It's even funnier when somebody whom you otherwise consider like a really smart person does it, and you're like, okay, we all have to start somewhere, right? I just thought you might not block. Yeah, okay.
I had like it's not the same. It's a similar thing against Andrea Mengucci. We played pre-modern in Spain at Impact Returns, and I had forgotten that he might have Exalted Angels in his sideboard, and I was playing Goblins, and I decided out all my things that can kill it. And so I was like, fuck, I'm an idiot. So there's no way I can win anyway, because he plays one. It's a morph, but it's obviously either a Willbender or an Exalted Angel. And so I attack with a Mog Fanatic. And he's like, he looks at me really funny. He's like, huh? And it's like, because I can sacrifice, it's still 1 damage anyway. It's exactly the same. So you kind of have to block. It's whatever. And so he looks at me really funny. And I was just like, yeah, he blocks. I'm like, yeah, it's dead. Go. Because I was just like, I'm losing the game. My only out is like chip damage and something goes crazy later. Yeah, it's quite funny. Similarly, like if you just stop for a second and think like, what could go wrong here? Not much.
Yeah. It's also the kind of thing, right, where you want to block because apparently, like, if you actually had something, it would be something he had never thought about, and then he could learn. And of course, you don't want to learn like in the finals of a tournament, but generally speaking, you kind of want to make the block in that regard. Yeah. Also,
I think no block there gets a lot of people, but not someone like Andrea.
Yeah.
As soon as I turned it sideways, and I was like, "This is not going to work on him." On a player of his caliber.
I mean, that's why you do it, right? Because he knows that you know that he's supposed to know, kind of.
So deep.
Yeah. Oh man, cool. So, how many days did you actually get to spend in Japan, Kai?
3 full weeks, and three is the magic number. It's perfect. Like 2 is not enough usually. Not worth the flight and the time and you spend to get there. And I think like a month is almost just too much. I think at some point it gets really repetitive maybe.
I guess if you travel around, right, that would work.
Yeah, right. And like, if it's your first time in Japan, you should probably book, I don't know, like a half a year or something, or like how long you want, right? Because just so much to see. But if Savatari rental home is like open to everybody, right? That's how it works. I had to book an Airbnb. Yeah, man. I took an Airbnb which is only 2 minutes away from my very first apartment in Tokyo, so it was like the same neighborhood and.
Oh, nostalgia.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, I had pee in my eyes.
Oh,
because it was exactly 10 years ago. I was 23 when I moved to Japan.
Oh, I remember that, right?
Yeah, dude. 2015.
Yeah,
good year for Magic too. So dig through time legacy.
Good times.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last thing you did before you went is like you destroyed me in like a Novino Get On Side event with stupid Sneak and Show.
Oh yeah, dude. That was also like
dude,
it was also like the last time I played that deck.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think we've been like shit talking it, and then like you actually had it, and you almost felt guilty for it, and I was like, okay, whatever, dude.
It just didn't feel good. Yeah.
Cool. And speaking of something that does feel good, there's like a new sheriff in town. There's this new guy called CJBS, and
bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit. CJ bullshit. And he ended up taking down the most recent Legacy Challenge with Painter. Callum, do you happen to know something about that?
No. No idea. Tell us all
no
about
idea.
it.
Just happens to share your initials and plays painter.
Yeah.
Could be something completely different, right?
Yeah. So as we alluded to earlier, for France, I didn't know what to do because, as we talked about in the last podcast, I had a build of painter that I really liked for the last for Eternal Weekend. I just played really badly, and so that goes hand in hand with losing. So I wanted to kind of continue this, looking at the lists without goblins, because I do adore Goblin Welder and Goblin Engineer, but the format recently, pre and post, like kind of Frog and Vexing Bauble ban, has felt it's the decks that are high in interaction. Fine, they're good because they clear the way for a painter and stuff, but there's so many decks that are just faster or can ignore the Goblin angle, like the Nardu decks and obviously fast combo decks or Moon Stompy. The Goblins are just like obviously not having haste. It's just they're a turn and a half behind a lot of the other decks in the format. So there's also still tons of graveyard interaction. Cosset's Command is such a beating against them because it just exiles graveyards and gets more value and stuff. They just didn't feel like it was right there for me. So I didn't play with them at Eternal Weekend, and I wanted to continue this. So I finally got around to getting some One Rings, and that card is fucked up, to put it simply.
Surprise.
Yeah, I always knew it makes sense in Painter, I think, but just haven't got around to trying it yet. But it plays right into, I think, where the metagame has gone now. So it's partially like just trying new things with Painter. I'm not completely convinced this is like the best way to play it, but there's tons of creatures in the format. Despite me saying, there's a lot of, it's too fast for the goblins. The Nardu decks, Eldrazi and Moon Stompy are three of the absolute top decks in the format. And so Lightning Bolt and Fury are just premium right now. They're so good right now. They kill all these things. So the One Ring just plays into the exact same game plan, right? You want to keep the board clear before playing a One Ring because, your life total is now the most absolute precious resource in the game because, a Delver hitting you is 3 cards, essentially. So, every creature that you kill and look after your life total is just going to be more cards, and then the One Ring just runs away with it. So yeah, the deck is just super heavy on creature removal. It has 4 Lightning Bolts, 3 Fury, 2 Pyroglyphs, and 2 Legion Extruder main. So tons of removal. So I played against Cradle Nardu a couple of times in the challenge yesterday and just absolutely destroyed it. Like every creature just dies. It's horrific. I don't know what they were thinking. Poor player. It was the same player twice, but yeah. Other than that, the One Ring being a 4-drop, you want fast mana. So this deck also has 7 Soul Lands and 4 Seaman Spirit Guides and Lotus Petal and a Mox Opal. So you can play your 3 and 4 drops faster, just like Stompy decks, really. It shares a lot of similarities with Moon Stompy. And then because of that, you have your 4 painters and it's playing 3 grindstones. So you just turn 2 and turn 3 kill people as well. So it plays into this really nice, you put your opponents in the bind as usual. Like, are you going to combo them? Are you going to absolutely outgrind them with the ring and removal? So, if they have a sideboard card like Meltdown, it's going to look embarrassing against loads of removal, blasts, bolts, and the One Ring. It's just not going to do anything. Similarly, a lot of people don't know that you're not on goblins, so they're going to bring in Graveyard Hate. That happens a lot. There's loads of ley lines and Nihil spell bombs and surgicals, and you just don't give a shit. It's fine. It's nice. The deck, I think, is weak to fast combo decks still. So I've tried to build a sideboard that's very heavy against, I think Oops is just one of the best decks in the format right now. So trying to approach that. But yesterday, quick TLDR is I did go 10-0 in the challenge, just didn't lose a match, which was really nice. I love those. It just looks nice. I played against Mystic Forge in round 1, and then the rest was fairly fair decks. I didn't play against anything fast combo. I played against Delver twice, Crane and Nardu twice, Nardu Breakfast, a control deck, 2 Delvers, and Rhinos twice. So some combo, but nothing like Dark Ritual LED kind of based combo. But I am throwing Mindbreak Traps and Leyline in the Voids and a bunch of Grafdigger's Cages in my sideboard because, yeah, those I think are the weak point of the deck. And then, like Delver, I don't sideboard a single card. So it's
I was looking at this and I was like, what is actually bringing in against Delver?
Yeah, just didn't sideboard a single card against Delver. So it's built to be kind of good against the top decks of the format which have creatures in. And it's kind of playing out well so far. But again, I think I kind of ran pretty smoothly. Didn't have any the nuts hands, but I didn't really stumble much either. I had a couple of games that were, but yeah, it just ran well. So I'm going to continue testing for this because I think I'll play this in Leon now. Because again, I was completely unsure what to play. I'll probably play Painter because it's obviously what I enjoy, but what kind of version, I had no clue. And then I had friends staying over the weekend, and they had to leave an hour or two earlier, so I got to join the challenge. So thanks to them. So yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Other little things about the deck is Legion Extruder.
I was going to ask you about that one.
Yeah, so this was not my idea. I don't know the player's real name, but they're called Pizza Time in the Discord.
Maybe that's a real name.
So without the goblins, you want a way to sacrifice the rings, really, because with Ancient Tombs as well,
ooh, okay.
you do lose life in the deck, obviously, and it's another way to sacrifice the rings, essentially. You don't totally need it, because you can play a second ring, but sometimes you don't draw into it fast enough. People bring in consigned memories against you, try and counter second ring. So Legion Extruder is just another thing that comes down, kills a creature, sniper, a mana dork, a lighted halfling, or a Nomads Core they've played, or whatever, kills a Collector Roof sometimes, and then it makes 3/3s, so it kind of that's become relevant. But also, most importantly, it can sacrifice a ring if it's getting out of control as well, which came up once yesterday where it was against Delver, had 4 counters, I was at 7, and I sacrificed it, and they bolted me, then conceded, saying like, "Hey, yeah, you were dead if you didn't do that." So it's come up a few times, which is interesting. Pyrogoyf is, everyone's probably used to it by now from Moonstompy, but like that card is fucked up as well.
Yeah, dude. Slaps.
I thought it wasn't going to really contribute to the deck's game plan, but it does, because you just kill it. Again, it gets decks with any creatures in, you just kill all their creatures, you play this 6/7 that domes them for 6, and then they're just dead in a turn or two. So fun times. Yeah, so I'm just excited to have very quickly found something to play for Leon, because I was just like, oh, do I play standard mono red? It just feels like, again, goblins feel a turn behind the rest of the format. So
it's a bit slow, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So also, it must feel so good, like, to not depend that much on artifacts anymore. Like, I was looking at the list and I was like, okay, and finally we can like completely cut all the Great Furnaces from the deck.
Yeah, I had already. I've been the biggest Great Furnace hater for like years. It feels
you are.
But yeah, I even made a comment this morning in the Discord being like, look, I know it grows constructs and I know you can sacrifice it to Legion Extruder, but please, this is finding the best excuse to cut that awful card. There's even, I played one Arena of Glory. I did give a Pyrogoyf haste, and like, it's legit. Giving Pyrogoyfs and Furies haste does kill people a turn faster, but I also had a hand this today where I played against Eldrazi, and my hand was Arena of Glory, City of Traitors, and a Blood Moon. And the Arena comes to play tapped, turn 1. They wastelanded it, and yeah. And I top decked a Simian Spirit Guide, so it's all good. But moral of the story is not that.
Oh, you play 4 Simian Spirit Guides. I totally missed that. Okay.
So it's 21 lands with 7 soul lands, and I'm actually going to go to 22 lands, and then 4 Spirit Guides. So it looks like Stompy. It kind of is, but again, with you're still playing 6 blasts and 4 lightning bolts, you can play this mountain go, saga go game plan, which I like as well. It's just a mono red mid-range deck, really, which I like.
Untimely Malfunction is basically for the mirror, right?
Yeah, especially after what happened to me at Eternal Weekend. Oh yeah, so I had 2 Untimely Malfunction in the sideboard, and they've already gone. It doesn't really work for me. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. I think in the sideboard at the moment, Full Blood Moon is a must, because Eldrazi is top, and that card just solos them, essentially. They need to get really lucky with a couple of draws, like their basic wastes or Micro Spawn for or something. So Blood Moons are there, and then Ley Lines are an absolute must for Oops, I think. There's 2 Grafdigger's Cages as well, because I'm just really, really respecting Oops. But Grafdigger's Cage obviously has really nice overlap against the Greenston Zenith Cord Nadu decks, which I think are very good as well. And then Mindbreak Traps. The thing with Mindbreak Trap is you put it in the sideboard because you lose to like LED Echo decks and Storm decks and stuff. But they just never work. But I don't know what else to do, because I think that is the weak spot for this deck. So,
like, do people play around Mindbreak Trap if they play LED decks?
Sometimes. I think it's just hard to, because again, this deck can kill turn 2 or turn 3 with Painted Grindstone as well. So I think just the dynamic of that from this deck means that they can't. And like the 1 ring could also buy an extra turn. And
exactly.
So I do like, it's just this weird thing where I always like Mindbreak Trap in theory based on how a painted deck is built. Then in practice, it doesn't work as often as you think. So I don't know. It's like one of the heuristics makes sense, but actually doesn't really work. But I'll keep banging.
I mean, it depends on the deck, right? Like sometimes, like for example, if let's say like a deck like Enchantress plays Mind Brick Trap, so it's just so easy to play around Mind Brick Trap because your opponent's just doing Enchantress things.
True. So right? When you're dying.
But if you but like if you threaten like an early One Ring or an early actual win, plus have Mind Brick Trap, then like the opponent just cannot play around their Mind Break Trap, because otherwise if they wait, then they probably die.
If I go turn 1 Soul Land Painter, you could be dying next turn quite easily. So
right. So right. And also I don't know how all the decks, like all the LED decks sideboard against Painter, but I would imagine that they swap some number of discards for like permanent removal, for example, like bounce spells and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I could imagine, right? Which makes Mind Brick Trap even better, actually, because they don't even have many cards to get rid of the Mind Brick Trap.
Yeah. Secretly, Defense Grid is one of the best cards against Painter.
Is it really?
Yeah. Like from so LED Echo decks, because there's a million Pyroblasts and stuff.
Yeah, but because that's all of our interactions, right?
Otherwise, but also
just like Pyroblast the land.
Yeah, but also Painter in play with Pyroblast, obviously, you just counter all the Black Tutor or whatever. So... Yeah, secretly or not secretly, I'm not sure.
Sure, but that's then where Goblin Velda is really good, right? Because they can like you can like swap, I don't know, like Lotus Petal for that Defense Grid, stuff like that.
True,
it's pretty cool too.
But that's I don't have the Welders though.
I forget this like every single time, but like they can mess with you as well. And that also happened to me like once where I was in Cephalid Breakfast and I tried to combo up, but then my opponent response switched my Shuko with that stupid Bellophus in my graveyard. Stuff like that. It's just so dope.
I've managed to do that a few times in the past.
But usually like when they had Weil and everything, then you can also do it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. But there's no Welders in this build though, but generally.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we'll see how it goes. I need to keep going at it. Also, last thing, Disruptive Flute. There's like one in the sideboard. I think I tried 2 for a bit. I'm going to add another one back in because I found myself naming, now with the One Ring in the deck, I just named Consigned to Memory a bunch of times yesterday. Because, you're against a Delver deck or a blue control deck and they leave open 1 blue man. And you're like, well, that's just the most blatant Consigned to Memory ever. So they either counter the Flute, but I don't think people expect you to name that anyway. But then if they counter the Flute, then the Consign's gone anyway, so it's done its job. So we'll see.
Cool. So looking forward to hearing how that's gonna work out for you once you face Kai in the finals.
Don't say that. Now you've just cursed us both.
Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen.
Commentators curse. We will see about that.
Yeah.
Guys, I kind of want to wrap it up here, but should we also quickly touch on what the format looks like right now? Because a lot of people were expecting Nadu to basically dominate the format after the most recent bans. Is that really like what your impression of the format has been lately?
Yes, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's definitely up there. In fact, on Saturday, so 2 days ago, we had the Berlin end of the year tournament where all the people who qualified, gathered together, and we had like this free tournament with like all the prizes that we just prepared during the whole year. And surprise, the final was a Nadu mirror. It was a Philip Breakfast versus like Band Nadu. I mean, that deck slaps, right? But it's also really beatable. I think like the best way how to beat Nadu is if you beat them faster. Actually, I would not try to out control them. I would much rather like do, I don't know, show and tell or like Doomsday or like I guess like Painter combo or like
basically
like,
punish them for having so many cards that don't stop you.
Exactly. Yeah, I think so. Because like at some point, like if they have like so much mana, like sometimes they can like double Green Sun Zenith you, or it just snowballs so quickly, right? But like card, sometimes they tap. I don't know. They go like turn 1 Mana Dork, turn 2 Nadu. But if they don't get a third turn, then
they are very fast. They have a ton of redundancy, so it's very resilient. But they need to have the time to do their thing or be allowed to do their thing. Like right. So from the Painter side, I found they're very weak to just a fast combo, exactly as you said. They have endurance to like reshuffle their graveyard, but it buys them a turn, and they need to spend their mana doing that. Or you can just, if you have tons of removal, like this build of Painter does, I was just furying and bolting and killing all their stuff. The mana's bad. Like the spells are expensive. Like Cord is a very clunky card if kill their first 2 dorks and stuff. So you can attack it in a few ways. Yeah. So last episode, I went on quite an annoyed thing that Nardu didn't get hit. So I think I was wrong. I'm happy to say the meta is looking a lot better than I expected it to. It's still early days, and there are these 3 Nardu decks. There's Breakfast, there's the Cradle deck, and there's kind of like mid-range with Greens and Zenith, but also cantrips and stuff. And I just thought that at least one of them or all 3 would be quite dominant. But so far, we're seeing pretty healthy numbers, honestly. There could be arguments for made that some of the decks are not fun and stuff, or it's not as good as, past formats. But I don't think that's something you can really... There's just not a fix if that is a problem, and I don't think it's right to say it, really. So we're seeing Moonstompy, blue-red with a small green splash for Questing Druid.
Questing Beast? Oh,
Questing
yeah.
Beast, Questing Druid.
Take us back.
Yeah, so Moonstompy, Blue-Red Delver, Eldrazi. We're still seeing Blue-Black Reanimator, but God, it feels so much more beatable without Frog.
That's kind of funny, right? We had to ban Frog from that deck and Grief, and it's still basically up there.
Yeah, it is just a ton worse. I think it's being played a lot, and it can spike, but it's totally fine. It's in line with the rest of the format now. I'm happy. I'm a bit exhausted of End of Turn Entomb for Archon, but that, the deck is beatable. Graveyard Hate is good against it. You don't have to feel stupid for having a Fairy or a Surgical now. Oozpool Spells, I think, is a sleeper insane deck. It can fight through so much hate and just kill you turn 1. So I don't know. Whenever I play against it, I don't know how this ever loses, but obviously it does lose sometimes. So
but Kai almost played it at Eternal Weekend, right?
Yeah, and I said you should.
But I was just too impatient and heartbroken because it took so many mulligans.
I think it is also really hard to play. Not that you couldn't, that's what I'm saying, but yeah, it fights through a ton of hate. Like just seeing what Faulted Form does is just crazy.
It does, yeah.
But
probably like the first time that a deck like this can also slow roll.
Yeah.
Right. Like which makes it when I saw that they play like the full playset of Thoughtseize in the main deck, I was like, dude, like we are in trouble. Like this is really, really bad news. If the fastest deck can also play like Pact of Negation and Thoughtseize, like what the hell?
Yeah. The missing source was Poxwalkers and the Memory's Journey. Memory's Journey and Jack-O-Lantern, the addition of these 2 cards made the deck so hard to hate. It's hard to kind of conceptualize what these 2 cards do, but it just beats so much stuff. And the other thing that's hard to play against with it is the sideboards are constantly changing. Like there's a player called Shootin who keeps doing well. They play Goblin Charbelchers a lot and like LEDs in the sideboard. And then like Faulted Form has multiple different versions. Some have 3 more Thassa's Oracle in the sideboard, so it's better against beating Leyline and the Void. But there is like a black-green version which has the Force of Vigors and Nature's Claims as well. It's just hard to know what sideboard stuff is good against it. But essentially, the Memory's Journey with Jack-O-Lantern, it just beats a Fairy Macabre and a Surgical with those 2 cards already. You just flop the deck over. You need a mana floating, it's fine. This deck is hard to beat, I think, but I think a lot of people just don't want to play Oops is the thing, though.
Yeah, that's basically right. That there's so many people out there who don't consider themselves, like, I guess they could consider it beneath them.
Yeah, totally.
Like, not real Magic. Like
it is a glass cannon deck, but again, over the last year or so, we're seeing it be a lot more resilient than we're used to. So I think it is starting to get a bit more play and respect. But I say respect like I've always respected it. I think combo decks are cool. I'm a big fan of them. But yeah, you're totally right. People will see this kind of turn 1 thing, and like Belcher in the past was similar. They'll be like, oh, I wouldn't play that shit, blah, blah. So
yeah. Cool. So we'll see how that works out. Guys, like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in action, both in the booth as well as in the arena. And I guess we're going to be back right after that, because I'm going to be back from the trade fair, and you're also going to be back. Well, I guess you're already going to be back next week. So maybe we can get together like towards the end of the month and see how many kilograms of Kenya I sold, or however you measure that, and how many tournaments you won in France.
How many baguettes we ate.
Yeah, okay.
Much more important.
Yeah, that's another story for another day, I guess. If you want to support our baguette eating habits, you can support us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, or of course on patreon.com/everydayeternal. Guys, do we wrap it up here? You gonna get ready for your baguette dinner?
Yeah, I think
sounds
good,
buddy.
Awesome. Cool.
I'm going to go and play a league with one of the decks from the team tournament that I've seen. It's an ancient Cellar Spawn deck.
Oh, there were a couple of crazy ones in there. There was also like one of the basically necro with like soul spear or something. Like
that's exactly what I'm going to play.
Yeah, that sounds like you. So thank you, everybody. And see you again next time, especially our Eternal Witness tier supporters, Franco Bulli, Kane, Colin Garassi, Alex Crow, Tim Everett, Testacular, Sebastian Holager, Sean Dewey, Stephen Bush, Jim Monolith, Francis Cooper, Cassandra Davis, Rachel Scherer, Connor Clark, Tristan Mayshark, Tom Tischka, and Severin Schwarzhuber, and our Legion Extruded here supporters, Evan Desar, Tom Hepp, Harry Houdini MTG, Ian Seefeld, Joe Brennan, and Colonoscopy. Thank you so much. See you maybe at MTG once or Düsseldorf at the boat trade fair. And with that, bye-bye.
See ya.
Ciao.